Upcycling vintage, repurposing retro fashion for a sustainable closet. Title: Upcycling vintage, repurposing retro fashion for a sustainable closet. Introduction. In today's fast-paced fashion industry, trends come and go at an alarming rate. With the rise of fast fashion, clothing is being produced at unprecedented levels, resulting in environmental degradation and exploitation of resources. However, an alternative movement that has gained momentum in recent years is upcycling vintage fashion. By repurposing and breathing new life into retro garments, individuals are not only reducing their environmental impact but also embracing unique style statements. In this article, we will explore the concept of upcycling vintage fashion, its benefits, and provide practical tips on how to build a sustainable closet through the art of repurposing. Understanding upcycling vintage fashion. Upcycling refers to the process of taking old or discarded materials and transforming them into something new, often with increased value or quality. When it comes to fashion, upcycling vintage clothing involves recognizing the potential in second-hand garments from previous eras and giving them a modern twist. By reimagining retro fashion, individuals can create one-of-a-kind pieces that stand out in a sea of mass-produced clothing. Benefits of upcycling vintage fashion. 1. Environmental impact. The fashion industry is a significant contributor to global pollution and waste. By upcycling vintage fashion, we can divert items from ending up in landfills, reduce water and energy consumption associated with manufacturing, and minimize reliance on new resources. 2. Personal style and individuality. With the prevalence of fast fashion, it is becoming increasingly challenging to express personal style without conforming to trends. Upcycling vintage fashion allows individuals to stand out from the crowd by creating unique outfits that reflect their personality and creativity. 3. Cost-effective. High-quality vintage clothing can often be found at thrift stores or online marketplaces for a fraction of the cost of new designer garments. By upcycling these items, you can significantly reduce your fashion expenditure while still looking stylish and fashionable. Practical tips for upcycling vintage fashion. 1. Sourcing vintage clothing. To kickstart your upcycling journey, start by exploring thrift stores, flea markets, and online vintage retailers. Look for items that catch your eye, even if they appear outdated or in need of repair. Keep an open mind and envision the potential for transformation. 2. Evaluate and plan. When you have found a vintage gem, assess its condition and identify any alterations that need to be made. Consider the color, fabric, and overall style. Plan how you can modify or combine elements to create a fresh, fashionable look. Sketching out ideas can be helpful. 3. Tailoring and alterations. If the vintage garment requires alterations such as resizing, shortening, or repairing, take it to a skilled tailor or learn basic sewing techniques. The ability to make simple alterations will open up a world of possibilities for upcycling various pieces. 4. Mixing and matching. Experiment with combining vintage finds with modern pieces in your wardrobe. Mix and match different eras and styles to create unique, eclectic outfits. This adds an extra layer of interest and personality to your fashion choices. 5. Thinking beyond clothing. Upcycling vintage fashion doesn't have to be limited to garments alone. Consider repurposing old scarves into headbands, turning antique brooches into statement necklaces, or transforming vintage fabrics into decorative pillowcases. The possibilities are endless. 6. Collaboration and sharing. Organize clothing swaps with friends or join local upcycling communities to exchange vintage items. This not only expands your wardrobe options but also fosters a sense of community and reduces consumption. Additional ways to embrace upcycling vintage fashion. 7. DIY embellishments. Add your own personal touch to vintage garments by incorporating DIY embellishments. Sew on patches, beads, or embroidery to breathe new life into classic pieces and make them truly unique to you. 8. Layering and repurposing. Get creative with layering and repurposing vintage clothing. Use a vintage shirt as a jacket or transform a dress into a skirt by layering a sweater over it. Explore different combinations to create fresh looks. 9. Upcycling accessories. Don't forget about accessories. Upcycle vintage jewelry by restringing broken necklaces or combining pieces to create new designs. Reimagine vintage handbags by adding new straps or embellishments. 10. Explore vintage patterns. Find vintage sewing patterns and create your own upcycled creations from scratch. By using vintage-inspired patterns, you can design custom garments that pay homage to the past while being uniquely yours. 11. Sustainable dyeing. Experiment with natural dyeing techniques to give old garments a fresh color update. Research eco-friendly dye sources such as avocado pits, onion skins, or beet juice to create unique and sustainable hues. 12. Repurpose fabric scraps. Don't throw away small fabric scraps. Collect them and use them for smaller projects like patchwork quilts, fabric jewelry, or even scrunchies. It's a great way to minimize waste and maximize creativity. 13. Support ethical brands. When purchasing vintage items, consider supporting ethical and sustainable vintage retailers. Look for businesses that prioritize fair trade and environmentally friendly practices, ensuring that your upcycling efforts align with your values. 14. Share your journey. Document your upcycling projects on social media or start a blog to inspire others. By sharing your experiences and showcasing your creations, you can encourage more people to join the upcycling movement and make a positive impact. 15. Educate others. Spread awareness about the benefits of upcycling vintage fashion. Host workshops or give presentations at schools or community centers to teach others about the importance of sustainable fashion and how to incorporate upcycled pieces into their wardrobes. By implementing these additional tips, you can further enhance your upcycling journey and contribute to a more sustainable and conscious fashion industry.